So I would like to reach out to see if we have a caller in right now. Okay, can I hear him?
Yes. Okay. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, where's my caller?
Uh-oh.
No worries, he might have been on the other line. Justin?
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello. This is the MA'AT Quorum, Justin. Thank you very much for calling in. My name is Apollo Olango. I am the anchor, and I will have my friend Art here introduce himself.
How you doing? My name's Art Fusco.
And Kat.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you all.
All right. Thank you very much. So today's subject is about whitewashing history. And the first thing that came to my mind when I heard that, me personally, I'm from Africa. I'm a part of a tribe. I'm a part of a culture. And I kind of reach out to tribes and cultures here as well. So I have a relationship with the actual aspects and realities of being a part of something like that, and the emotional attachment that goes through it. So I thought about Native Americans and what I was taught here about Native Americans, and I realized later on in life that there's so much more to it. It's almost a remedial understanding of this, and that, but it doesn't get down to talk about the actual nitty grit that goes on and that happens. So I wanted to give an opportunity for a real Native American that understands it from his perception to give a delivery here at this quorum circle. So please start by giving your whole name. Let us know what tribe you're from, where it's located, and please let us know about what has been going on recently and give us some history on that, and we can just talk back and forth about it.
Oh, sure. My name is Justin Bigishkibin Beatty. Bigishkibin is my name in the Ojibway language, where my mother's people are from. It means he breaks them into pieces. I am of Ojibway and Saponi descent. The Ojibway people are from the Great Lakes area. My family is from northwest Ontario on that side.
Okay.
And the Saponi folks are from the Virginia, North Carolina area. And they are split into a few different bands. You have the Halawa Saponi, you have the Okanichi Saponi, and my family is from the Okanichi Saponi.
I have a question, Justin.
I currently live in Massachusetts, which is, as far as American history is concerned, this is kind of where it all starts. And, you know, Thanksgiving here, we understand, you know, that there is a distinct whitewashing of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
What the actual history behind it is, as opposed to what's promoted to the general public to give them a sense of quote-unquote Americanness and the belief of American identity, is pretty removed from the truth of the situation. And so if you want to explore that, you have to understand that, first of all, here, throughout North and South and Central America, indigenous people had highly organized forms of government. They had intricate involvement with other tribes and negotiation tactics. You know, they were highly evolved societies, but that wasn't seen from the perspective of the settlers, right? They came, the settlers came with the idea that they were superior even to other people from where they were from.
Wow.
So when they got here, they didn't understand the structures. They couldn't deal with it. You know, they had a very difficult time understanding the way things work. And so from that, they kind of believed indigenous people on a certain level to be inferior. Now, when the settlers first came to Massachusetts, you know, there weren't many in number, and there were plenty of native folks. And so initially, that relationship was the settlers kind of relied on native folks to kind of teach them about the land, about how to survive the winters, how to survive, what foods were available, etc. And so there was a government-to-government relationship initially.
Okay.
Over time, that changed because different people involved in the settler communities came to power. So when you think about the actual, what would be really considered the story about that first Thanksgiving, Native people weren't even invited.
Wow.
What happened was the settlers were celebrating, and they were shooting off their guns and things. And so the local Wampanoag folks who had an agreement with them heard all the ruckus and decided to come over. So they showed up with 70 warriors.
Wow.
And it scared the settlers because they're like, oh my God, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
And then once it got straightened out, they sat down to eat. Somewhat together, but basically the native folks were kind of doing their thing, and the settlers who were still very nervous were kind of doing their thing. There was some discussion amongst them once because they realized, okay, we know these folks, and we've had some interactions, we can kind of be cool in the situation. But
Okay.
it wasn't a situation at all.
Wow.
The Native folks were invited.
Wow.
What became the official first Thanksgiving was a proclamation by the then governor, who, after a battle with Native folks that they won, they declared that, like, hey, we won this thing, let's give thanks for that. It had nothing to do with, hey, we have to stay in a relationship and we're surviving and we also thank. It had nothing to do with that.
Wow, that's amazing, Justin.
Most people don't, have never heard that portion of the story, right? Native people, we, in general, give thanks at various times throughout the year. We give thanks in the spring for our planting season. We give thanks in the fall for our harvest. We give thanks in the winter for the renewal of the earth. We have times of year that we get together and we give thanks to the Creator. We give thanks to the earth. We give thanks to the animals that help us survive by providing food or teaching us what was safe to eat or what wasn't safe to eat. So in that regard, Native people were already doing Thanksgivings.
Okay. Justin.
But again,
Can you hear? Justin, I have a question. More recently, can we discuss something more recently that has been going on in that area with your tribe and so on and so forth? That was a wonderful historical anchor, but I would like to hear something more recently that we can, take a look at and put out there and be able to maybe get involved in and see what is going on. Is there still whitewashing going on here today? Has it been going on recently, and what are the effects?
Right. Okay. So now more so than previous years, the day of Thanksgiving is considered a national day of mourning. And what happens specifically with the Wampanoag folks is they have a gathering at Plymouth Rock where they speak about the injustices that happened over the past few hundred years and talk about how can we move forward as a people and how can we decolonize and deconstruct a lot of these systems that have been put in place to put Native people and many minority people in general at a disadvantage. It was started in the 70s by Dennis Banks from AIM and a gentleman named Tall Whedon, who is Wampanoag and Narragansett. He's an activist. He's also a tribal historian. And they felt that it was important for us to look at that day for what it really was, that it wasn't actually, this happy event, and that it was actually part of the turmoil and the growing pains of the early stages of the formation of the Americas. And so now what you have is a fair amount of activists coming to the territory on that day to talk about the injustices, to talk about the strip mining and mineral extraction in places, to talk about the pipeline situation where they generally tend to try and run pipelines through indigenous and poor communities. You talk about the violations of treaty rights. You talk about the violations that Native people face in terms of traditional hunting and fishing practices that are often met with resistance from game wardens and U.S. wildlife and fisheries services, and how that there is no longer in most cases, a government-to-government situation when it comes to legislation. How Native people are not involved at the government level on decisions that affect us directly. And so, it has become a much more involved on a political level and not just sort of a show of solidarity or, just a gesture. It's an actual event. And out of that often comes different projects and movements, networking, where tribes can then work together to fight some of these things and, in some cases, reverse them.
Okay,
Wow.
Go ahead. Are you gonna ask him a question?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's not a question. It's a more of a comment. It sounds a lot like what had happened to the Kumeyaay.
Oh wow.
Here in San Diego, we have the local Kumeyaay who had been pushed out of the lands and then eventually into reservations where they had to they were on their own for the longest time until they were able to create their casinos and everything. But the amount of poverty that they lived in and how the city just wanted them to go away. And it sounds a lot like that.
That's the thing about indigenous people in relationship to the idea of America, right? If you acknowledge that we're here, if you acknowledge that the things that we've gone through, then you have to admit that you're complicit in the ongoing destruction.
Right.
Right.
And people don't want to do that. They want to view us in this historical lens. They want to take that picture from their 8th grade social studies book
Right.
and say, this is all the Indians are, and this is what they all look like, and this is how they live. And that's just ridiculous. You know, any reasonable person with even a modicum of education realizes that no one group all looks, lives, and acts the same way. So, you know, when you're looking at how, what you're saying, it goes on here as well. The issue is, in fact, that it's been going on here much longer. It's been going on in the East Coast much longer. This was essentially ground zero, right? This is where they started trying out all of the practices that have led to tribal lands being taken, people being pushed into smaller areas as opposed to their traditional homelands. It's led to, like I said, the destruction of that government-to-government relationship. And so, you know, it's incumbent upon us to find ways to combat that. The problem sometimes is, and the benefit is the education system, right?
Right.
So what we have now is we have more indigenous people that have gone through higher education than any time in history before. We have more doctors, professors, teachers at different levels, scientists, etc. But they're coming through that same whitewash system. They're coming through the same system that has put people of color, and specifically indigenous people, into a very particular box that's easy to control. And once you dehumanize people, it becomes easier to dismiss them, and it becomes easier to then, you know, put forth any ideas you have over there.
Wow, that's a great answer. That is a great answer.
So, you know,
Kat, do you have a question for Justin?
Yes, Justin. You know, thank you very much for touching on the governmental impact on the indigenous tribes and America. I want to make a point that if we're talking about whitewashing and talking about government and the state's involvement, that you know, legality is never a metric to determine human rights. It can never be used to determine what's right and what's wrong. There's legal, there's right, and there's wrong. And I think a lot of people need to discern the two as to what's legal versus what's right. And I know that law enforcement have been historically known to reinforce laws and maintain order, not necessarily work for the people. And Justin, I just wanted to know, since we're talking about the whitewashing and the history of policing, what are your thoughts on natives, indigenous, that are falling victim to police brutality at this time, or any time historically, or for any current events? Is there anything you want to touch on?
well, yeah, I mean, I think that that's been part of the permanent experience of Native people, right? We've been brutalized at the hands of the law. You know, the things that have been made legal in order to disarm us, in order to control us.
Exactly.
The legalization of American Indians, the Indian Citizenship Act, which bestowed upon everybody, conferred upon everybody, Native people, citizenship in America. Like, we didn't ask for that. You know, it wasn't something that Native people necessarily wanted.
No.
But what it did was it automatically put us under their jurisdiction, right? And then you had things like the Major Crimes Act of 1885, which said, okay, you know, Native people could be responsible for handling crimes issues, but only against other natives that happened on the reservation. And so white people come on the reservation and commit crimes, and the Native people had no jurisdiction. And that's why even today, 90% of the violent crimes that happen on reservations are committed by white men.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's because the justification has been, and the discourse of law has been, if you go to these places and commit these crimes, they can't do anything to you.
Wow.
Right? We have an odd law enforcement relationship with like federally recognized tribes and even state recognized tribes. If you're a state recognized tribe, the regular police can't come onto the res. Only the state police and the federal agents can. If you're a federally recognized tribe, state police can't come onto the reservation. Only federal agents can come unless the state police can come if they're invited, right? So what does that mean? That means that you now have to rely on a government that's actively trying to prevent you from growing and evolving and meeting your own needs.
Right. So
Being
Justin,
responsible for protecting you.
Justin,
You know?
in a sense, we're basically in the same predicament at the moment, you know. So I definitely, first I'd like to thank you very much for coming here and dropping this knowledge and insight on us. And this wraps up our segment, actually. So I would like you just to say you. I would like for you just, I guess, to just have a good closing, you know, to let people know more about you.